What's up YouTube, it's your girl AK, and we are back here with another video. We are doing a market analysis on USDJPY. This is the only pair I'm going to really look at mostly for this week. I do have other pairs that a lot of people in my community like to trade, right? I have a trading community on Telegram. We look at GJ, AJ, pretty much all the pairs, right? And then gold and other, instruments. So if you're interested in looking at other instruments, I recommend joining the Telegram, looking at the chat. We share all kinds of different ideas and things. But for this video, I'm going to focus just on UJ because I see a pretty straightforward play that I think anybody can pretty much catch for the week. So, yeah, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the analysis. So, boom. I'm just going to start with an overall look of everything. So, right here, I'm going to hide my drawings, and we're just going to start with the higher time frame as always. All right, y'all. So, as you can see on the weekly, right here, the weekly is bullish. We broke structure. These were our weekly highs. As you can see, we came and we closed above these highs, making our weekly time frame bullish, right? If we drop down to the daily time frame, we start to see something kind of interesting. So, on the daily time frame, you see we were on this particular uptrend, right? We broke these highs up here. So, price came up, right? We broke above, we broke these highs, making it bullish, right? We had a pullback, and then we had another push up, and as you can see, if I zoom in, this candle actually closed above this candle body, right? Making this another higher daily. And then what happened? Last week we had a big push to the downside, breaking daily structure, right? So we actually broke structure on the daily time frame, making our daily time frame bearish, and price is coming back to potentially grab this liquidity, right? So as you can see, daily time frame is currently bearish, weekly is bullish, right? Dropped down to a 4 hour. So right here we made a high, right? We came down, we eventually broke this high, right? Came back, so we're making highs, right? We're just making structure on the 4 hour. And as you can see on the 4 hour, things kind of start to shift, right? We start to eventually break structure to the downside, right? Breaking structure, making lower lows, lower highs, right? And then price makes one big push to the upside on the 4 hour, making it bullish again, right? We broke all these lower highs, making a higher high, and then we come back down and we do what? We crash all the way back down. So then we end up breaking support again. So we went from being bearish, right, to this big push to make us bullish, and then this big crash to make us bearish again, right? So 4 hour, again, we're coming back to grab some liquidity. We have not broken this high, right? It seems like we're actually starting to form a potential lower high around this area. So right now, as you can see, my weekly is bullish, my daily time frame is bearish, and my 4 hour time frame is also bearish as well. So because I have 2 consecutive time frames going to the downside, I am looking for sales. I do also want to point out that on this weekly time frame, we had a big push on the weekly time frame for a while. I think the weekly is still bullish. I think the weekly time frame might just be looking for some kind of like pullback, right? Some kind of pullback, maybe down to this level, and then a push up is what I'm starting to think. Just based off of the lower time frames on the daily and the 4 hour, how we broke structure. I'm going to pay attention. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm just going to kind of watch to see what we do in this area. So I already have a Fibonacci drawn on the 4 hour time frame from this swing high to the swing low. And as you can see right here, we broke structure, right? We're coming back to grab liquidity. Because we had such a big drop, the market left a lot of gaps in the market, right? So when the market leaves a lot of gaps in the market, and I'll jump to a 1 hour so you can see it even better. But on the 1 hour time frame, as you can see, like there's just a lot of gaps in the market. Like gaps kind of look like this, right? When these wicks don't fill these candle bodies, right, we leave like something called an imbalance in the market. So we left a lot of imbalances in the market where we had to come back and have that deep retracement to come fill these market gaps. So price came, we're filling gaps, right? We came up, we're filling these gaps, right? And again, until price breaks this 4 hour support, so right here, 4 hour resistance, until price breaks this 4 hour resistance up here, right, we're still bearish. So until price breaks this area, I'm still looking for sales, right? And I'm just waiting for my lower time frames to shift structure to show me that we basically want to go lower. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look on this 4 hour time frame, right, kind of what we see is we have this big drop to the downside, right? And then we have this big like pullback, right? That's kind of what we see on UJ on the 4 hour time frame. And you know, that's cool. You kind of get some information, but a lot of times it's kind of hard to really know what's going on if you don't scale into a lower time frame. So this is why I'm actually looking to actually scale in to kind of see what's going on under the hood. Let's jump to like a 1 hour to see what kind of structure we have going on. So jump down to a 1 hour, and then okay, now we can see we have a little bit more structure, right here. We can see on 1 hour, again, making higher highs, higher lows, right? Higher highs, higher lows. So at this point, we can see that price, we're kind of at this point where price is looking to potentially, you know, break 1 hour structure. So I see in the 1 hour, we actually have a 1 hour support level sitting right here. So I'm looking to see how price is going to react to the support level. Are we going to respect it, right? Or are we going to start breaking below? So once you start seeing the lower time frame break below, it kind of gives you an idea of like, hey, the market might be ready to make its next push to the downside, right? I'm just kind of watching this 1 hour support. I'm going to set alerts on this level to kind of see, you know, if it wants to break it, or we're going to respect it, right? And then furthermore, you can even jump down further into a lower time frame, like the 15-minute or the 30-minute time frame, right? And you can even see like on the 30-minute, 15-minute, price is starting to slow down, right? Notice how before we were rallying very strong. Like we had really strong pushes to the upside, strong push, right? Minimum pullback, strong push, minimum pullback. But as we get closer and closer to these resistance levels, right, notice how price is getting smaller, right? The bulls are starting to kind of lose steam, right? And then we're starting to kind of struggle to make new highs right here. But notice right here, if I zoom in, price, we just failed to make a high. Look at this. We failed to make a high. And on the 15-minute, what we're doing, we're currently breaking this 15-minute low. So pay attention to the lower time frame, y'all. It's going to tell the story. It's going to tell you what price wants to do. So I am looking to see basically my lower time frame kind of shift bearish. So for example, think of me taking like a magnifying glass, right? And I'm looking to zoom in on this particular level of price action. I'm basically waiting to see this, right? So this is the 4 hour. So this is the 4 hour time frame, right? I'm basically looking to look lower on like a 15-minute, 30-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute. And I'm basically looking to see price do this, right? So we had the same drop, right? We had the same push, but if we're zooming on this part, I'm looking for price to basically, you know, eventually shift from making higher highs to making lower lows on the 15-minute, right? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking to see, like, are we gonna break that 1 hour support as well? So like I said, there is 1 hour support also sitting right here that I'm watching for. So I'm looking to see if that 15-minute time frame is gonna basically break that 1 hour support, right? Have our 15-minute break this 1 hour support, give us some kind of retest, show me that I want to go no higher, and then look for that drop. So when I'm looking for this shift of structure, right, this 15-minute break and retest on this 1 hour support, I do want to say that like you could take it off the 1 hour support, that's fine. If you want to be safer, you can wait for price to also break back below this 4 hour area of interest if you want to be safer. So if you want to wait for price to break back below this level, you can too, because there are strong, you know, buyers sitting on this level. So price be bought from this level, right below we're selling. So if you want to be safe, wait for price to break below this 4 hour area interest. If you want to take, you know, if you want to be early, you want to take it off the 1 hour support, that's also fine as well. It's up to the trader, honestly. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. As far as like targets, I am looking for basically these lows, right? So on the 4 hour, we basically made a break of structure to the downside, right? And we created liquidity right here. So there's liquidity sitting at this psychological level. So I'm basically looking to basically target liquidity, which is also sitting on a psychological level. So that's gonna be my target. If I want to hold longer, I'll hold to this 27 extension, right? But that's probably the longest I'll hold. Really, once I get to here, I'm kind of looking to secure my profit. So I'm just looking for these sales. If price decides not to shift to the downside, right? If price decides to actually break above 4 hour structure, so we end up breaking above this resistance level, then this trade idea will no longer be invalid, right? So this is what I'm looking at for UJ. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. A lot of people in the Telegram, they tend to send out different like ideas, chart ideas, right? So if you're interested in those ideas, check out the Telegram. You know, it's pretty cool, pretty chill, very relaxed. It's free and not charging nothing. It's just a community to share ideas. And yeah, but that is what I'm gonna be looking for. So y'all let me know what y'all think, and feel free to leave any questions and comments down below. Until next time, y'all. Bye.